Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. The Yao clan specialized in alchemy, possessing the largest alchemist organization in the world. Although the Yao clan would feel some pride in their hearts when dealing with the alchemists from the Central Plains, it must be said that they did indeed have the ability to back up this pride. Perhaps it was due to their bloodline, but it was extremely easy for those in the Yao clan to learn how to refine medicinal pills. Moreover, the clan did not lack individuals with outstanding training talent. Hence, it might be true that the Yao clan did not have a large number of alchemists with skills equivalent to those alchemist grandmasters quite famous in the Central Plains. But it was not hard to find outstanding individuals within their clan either. Since they were in possession of such capital, they would inevitably feel pride when compared to other alchemists. Of course, this was merely describing the middle level among the alchemist tier. The Yao clan did not hold much of an advantage in terms of the true alchemists that stood at the top of all alchemists. After all, their bloodline strength might allow them to have an easy time learning alchemist skills, but it was impossible to rely on to reach the peak of the alchemist world. At times, such talent might even become an obstruction to reaching the peak level. This could perhaps be considered a slight disadvantage of the bloodline strength. All alchemists were divided from Tier 1 to Tier 9. Tier 1 was the lowest level while Tier 9 was the highest. Those Tier 9 alchemist gurus were further divided into 3 levels: the Treasure Pill Guru, Mysterious Pill Guru, and Golden Pill Guru. The current Xiao Yang had already reached the Treasure Pill Guru level, after having refined a Tier 9 treasure pill back then. Of course, this had not been verified by any organizations. At this level, a faction could no longer help him verify his tier, because those of his tier were already at the peak of the alchemist world. A Mysterious Pill Guru was considered the peak of the alchemist world on this continent. There was hardly any of them. It had been nearly 1,000 years since someone had become a Golden Pill Guru, so no one was able to refine a Tier 9 Golden Pill. Above the Golden Pill Guru was the legendary DI class. DI was the ultimate and no one could surpass it. For most of those present, the first part of the medicinal ceremony was entertaining to watch. The younger generation of the Yao clan did indeed possess a talent that would cause an ordinary alchemist to envy. Those who had stepped onto the stage were Tier 6, or even higher-tiered alchemists. Many cauldrons rose, giving the square an extremely spectacular appearance. Of course, from the perspective of those like Xiaoyang, a pill refinement of this level was just like a group of adults watching some small children fight. There was nothing for them to observe. Hence, they merely shut their eyes and recuperated while there was an uproar over the appearances of many medicinal pills. The first part of the medicinal ceremony lasted for a couple of days. Only then did it come to an end. Fortunately, those present were not ordinary individuals. Many did not even shift their bodies during these few days. Xiaoyang's eyelids slowly opened, just before the first portion of the medicinal ceremony came to an end. He glanced over the young individuals from the Yao clan and slightly nodded. After a few days of observation, he had seen just how strong the Yao clan was. Many of their young possessed extremely great talent. If they were lucky, they would be able to gain a seat within the alchemist world in the future. Moreover, by possessing such outstanding new blood, the Yao clan would continuously prosper. Of course, there was naturally a limit to this. If the Yao clan did not produce an elite DI following the flow of time, their bloodline strength would gradually be exhausted like the Xiao clan. At that time, the Yao clan would likely be no different than an ordinary clan. Even though that time would come, it was still in the distant future. Thinking of such things now would be worrying for no reason. While observing event over the last few days, Xiaoyang had also seen some familiar figures. That Yao Xingji, who had given Xiaoyang the invitation for the medicinal ceremony, had been discovered by Xiaoyang. Currently, Yao Xingji's alchemist skills had grown after the last few years of training. He had squeezed into the top 5 during this medicinal ceremony, which was quite a good result. That champion position had been obtained by that man called Yao Tian, whom Xiaoyang had met outside the demonic flame realm back then. He should be the most outstanding person among the younger generation of the Yao clan. The medicinal pill he had refined had actually attracted a 9-colored pill lightning, which surpassed everyone else. Even some of the elders within the Yao clan smiled upon seeing the colors. However, when their eyes unintentionally landed on Xiaoyang, who was recuperating with his eyes shut beside Yao Lao, the smile on their faces would quickly disappear before turning into melancholy. They had long since heard that Xiaoyang was already able to refine a Tier 9 medicinal pill. The pill lightning he had attracted was the Black Demon Lightning. Yao Tian's 9-colored pill lightning paled in comparison to him. The atmosphere of this stadium did not quiet down after the competition between the younger generation of the Yao clan was completed. Instead, it suddenly overflowed with excitement. Those many boiling eyes leaped over the stadium and finally landed on those stone chairs. They understood that the main event of the medicinal ceremony was these important individuals standing at the peak of the alchemist world. Ha ha, it is finally about to begin. Yao Lao slowly opened his eyes at this moment. He sensed the temperature of the stadium suddenly rise before laughing. Xiaoyang also grinned. His hand gently touched the jade cup. After observing things for a couple of days, he had unknowingly felt a little itch in his hands. Other than you, those participating in the main event will likely be Han Huzi, Old Man Shenong, and Elder Wanhua. These 3 individuals are all extraordinary people. In terms of experience, even I am greatly lacking compared to them. Yao Lao said. Yao Dan is not participating. Xiaoyang glanced at Yao Dan in the leader's seat and asked. Being the head of a clan, he must naturally wear a pride that belongs with his title. Yao Lao laughed. He immediately spoke in a grave manner, however, his alchemist skills are not any weaker than the 4 of you. The clan head of the Yao clan is the leader of the biggest organization in the alchemist world. It would be impossible for him to convince others if he did not have some ability. Xiaoyang laughed. He naturally understood Yao Lao's meaning. Moreover, regardless of how arrogant he was, he would not carelessly underestimate a frightening expert, whose strength had reached that of a 7-star Do Xing. While Xiaoyang and Yao Lao were softly chatting, Yao Dan, who sat in the leader's seat, slowly stood up. At this moment, all the eyes present gathered onto him. Ha ha, the appetizer is over. It is finally time for the main event. This elderly self understands what everyone is thinking. Yao Dan smiled faintly and continued as everyone focused on him. There will be 4 people competing in this medicinal ceremony. I will not talk anymore about these 4 individuals. I'm sure that everyone here knows them. The final victor among them will gain the title of the top alchemist of the continent. I think that no one will object to the victor taking that title. The 4 of you, please take the stage. Ha ha, clan head Yao Dan is really forthright. I have long heard that the medicinal ceremony is the top alchemist gathering across the Do Chi continent. The reason I have come here today is to challenge everyone. My Han clan is a little interested in this title as the top alchemist of the continent. Therefore, I wish to come here and take it. Han Hu's figure took the lead as he appeared in the air after Yao Dan's voice sounded. His calm laughter was provoking. HMPH, the Yao clan is a clan which refines medicine. It is perhaps better for this title to remain in the Yao clan. Elder Wanhua coldly snorted. His body flashed and appeared in the air. He did not give in as he faced Han Huzi. Cheers rose from the surroundings the moment Elder Wanhua appeared. This was the home ground of the Yao clan. Naturally, they were unwilling to see someone from the Han clan snatch away this unusually grand title. Although this elderly self does not have much interest in such vanity, allowing the title of the top alchemist on the continent to land on you is a great insult to the alchemists from my generation. Old Man Shenong stepped into the air. The walking stick formed by medicinal grass shook in his hand, causing the jade bottles to collide and emit a clear sound. He floated in the air. His tone was calm, but it was obvious that he greatly disliked Han Huzi. After all, the Han clan had an extremely terrible reputation among alchemists. Elder Wanhua, Hun Huzi, Old Man Shenong, these three are definitely giants within the current alchemist world. This is really going to be an exciting show during this face-off. The stadium immediately turned into an uproar, as everyone looked at the three individuals in the sky. Countless pairs of alchemist eyes were filled with excitement. The level that the three people above them had reached was something that they had been pursuing all their life. Hun Huzi glanced at Elder Wanhua and Elder Shenong before smiling. He placed both of his hands behind him. The demeanor of a guru was displayed without a doubt. If one did not discuss character, the attainment of Hun Huzi in terms of alchemist skills was indeed something that others would look up to. Three of them have already appeared. Who is the last person? Countless pairs of eyes rotated over the three figures, but they quickly slid away. After which, they paused on a black-clothed young man in a stone chair. Xiaoyang smiled as he stood up in front of those many pairs of eyes. His body shook as an afterimage appeared. His body also appeared in the sky as a clear laugh spread. I have long since heard that Elder Hun Huzi has stolen skills from the Pill Tower. Now the Pill Tower is also a member of the Sky Mansion. Being someone from the Sky Mansion, Xiaoyang wishes to represent the Pill Tower in challenging Elder Hun Huzi. Please try your best to teach me a lesson. A. Not sure what this sentence is trying to say. B. Modified. Means that the Yao clan was not full of skilled individuals, but they are still quite common. Many people quietly started to sweat after hearing Xiaoyang's clear laughter. His words were relatively awful. It seemed that the Sky Mansion Alliance and the Hun clan did indeed resent each other. What razor-sharp tongue! If it is about challenging me, even your teacher Yao Chen does not possess the qualifications. Hun Huzi faintly laughed, but his face did not reveal the slightest anger because of Xiaoyang's words. It seemed that he boasted an extremely good temperament. However, the eyes he used to look at Xiaoyang were densely cold. There was a vague murderous intent surging in them. Teacher said that I should be able to deal with you. Hence, there is no need for him to intervene. Xiaoyang fondled his chin. The smile on his face was quite brilliant. Nevertheless, the words he spoke clearly did not give Hun Huzi any face. Ha ha, in that case, I am rather curious, Hun Huzi softly laughed. After which, he ceased uttering any unnecessary words. With a wave of his sleeve, a black flame erupted from his body in all direction. It formed a 1,000-foot-large black fire cauldron in the sky in front of him. There was a strange devouring power vaguely emitted from the fire cauldron. Nihility devouring flame. Xiaoyang, Elder Wanhua, and Old Man Shenlong suddenly focused their eyes. They cried out in deep voices as they looked at the fire cauldron being formed by the black flame. It is unexpected that such a heavenly flame has actually landed in the hands of the Hun clan. Old Man Shenlong frowned. His eyes were filled with a grave expression as he looked at the black fire cauldron. Being one of the elders within the alchemist world, he was clearly aware of the might of the nihility devouring flame. Summon the heavenly flames within your bodies. My nihility devouring flame craves their taste. Hun Huzi smiled as he looked at Xiaoyang and the other two and laughed. It is merely the seed flame of the nihility devouring flame, yet you actually act so domineering. Xiaoyang softly laughed. Although the feeling that the nihility devouring flame within Hun Huzi gave him was far stronger than that of the chief of the Hall of Souls, it was still unable to reach the frightening level of the true devouring flame. Clearly, the nihility devouring flame in this person's hand was also a seed flame. Hun Huzi narrowed his eyes slightly upon hearing Xiaoyang's tone. He had not expected Xiaoyang to be able to identify the flame this quickly. However, he immediately laughed. Xiaoyang was able to recognize his nihility devouring flame, but Xiaoyang was unaware that his nihility devouring flame was not an ordinary seed flame. The nihility devouring flame was extremely mysterious. Only a few rare individuals were even aware that the seed flames of the nihility devouring flame could be separated into different levels. Among the many ordinary seed flames were two types of mysterious seed flames. They were called the heaven and earth seed flames. The nihility, devouring flame in his hand was the earth seed flame. This so-called earth seed flame could be considered a baby form of the nihility, devouring flame from a certain point of view. Its might was far from what the ordinary seed flame in the hands of the chief of the Hall of Souls could compare with. Although such a seed flame was relatively powerful, if the mother of the flame was damaged, the many seed flames connected to it would automatically disappear and turn into essence energy that would gather in the main body. Such a matter was considered a secret. Even Yao Lao and Xiaoyang had never heard of this information. Hence, they were only able to identify the heavenly flame in Hun Hu's hands as a seed flame. They could not identify that it was the boss of the seed flames, the earth seed flame, but even if they had recognized it, Xiaoyang's expression would not pale. The purifying demonic lotus flame within his body had mutated after merging with so many heavenly flames. Forget about this nihility, devouring flame only being a seed flame. Even if the true nihility, devouring flame were to descend, Xiaoyang might not even fear it. Whether you can swallow our heavenly flames will depend on your ability. Elder Wanhua coldly snorted. He immediately waved his sleeve. A faint black wind suddenly whistled out of it. The wild wind swiftly moved through the air. If one were to look carefully, one would discover that it was not a fierce wind, rather it was a mysterious flame. 9 Serene Wind Flame. Xiaoyang was a little surprised as he glanced at the wild wind flame that had been summoned by Elder Wanhua. It was not the first time he had seen this 9 Serene Wind Flame. When he had met Yao Xingji back then, Yao Xingji had been carrying this heavenly flame, but from the looks of it, it seemed that this heavenly flame had been taken back. Ha ha, old man Wanhua, you are becoming more proficient in your usage of this 9 Serene Wind Flame. Old man Shenong laughed out loud after seeing Elder Wanhua summoned the heavenly flame. The medicine grass walking stick in his hand gently pressed down on empty space. He laughed, in that case, this elderly self will also have to perform. After uttering these words, the medicinal ingredient walking stick in his hand self-ignited without the presence of a flame. A liquid-like green flame slowly rose. Finally, it swelled with the wind. Layer after layer of a fog rose from the green liquid-like flame. The countless mysterious medicinal ingredients slowly grew while the fog rose. They emitted a life force, which caused one's expression to change. This is the heavenly flame ranked 5th on the heavenly flame ranking. Life Spirit Flame. Surprise flashed across Xiaoyang's eyes as he observed the spreading life force. A strange expression flashed through his eyes. The Life Spirit Flame was ranked 5th on the heavenly flame ranking. This heavenly flame was extremely mysterious, because most flames were filled with a destructive force despite their many forms. However, this Life Spirit Flame did not display an overly strong destructive force. Instead, it was filled with a life force. It was rumored that when such a heavenly flame was used, any medicinal ingredient seeds within it would swiftly sprout and grow. In other words, one would not need to worry about searching for medicinal ingredients with such a heavenly flame. As long as one possessed sufficient seeds, one would be able to obtain the medicinal ingredients one needed. Thus, this flame was extremely mysterious. Moreover, this life spirit flame was considered a longevity flame. The person who obtained it would have a lifespan comparable to those magical beasts famous for their long lives, but the only disadvantage was that this flame was not suitable for combat. It did not really increase one's fighting strength. Xiaoyang had also heard about this life spirit flame, but this was the first time he saw it. That rich tempting life force caused one to feel relaxed and full of energy. Han Hu's eyes stared intently at the life spirit flame in old man Shenlong's hands. A greed flashed across his eyes. Everything in this world possessed a limited lifespan. If one could obtain this flame of life, one would be able to greatly extend one's life. That allure was relatively intense even to someone like him. It is actually the life spirit flame. Old man Shenlong, you are quite lucky. Elder Wanhua's expression was also a little envious as he stated with a smile. When this life spirit flame was formed, its intelligence would be relatively high. Normally, it would not appear in the shape of a flame. Instead, it transforms into various medicinal ingredients. After which, it simply quietly takes root in the soil. At times, it was impossible to identify it even if one were to walk past it. Only those who were extremely lucky would be able to find it in the soil. Ha ha! I was merely lucky and unexpectedly found it while I was searching for medicinal ingredients. Old man Xiaoyang fondled his beard and smiled as he replied. Being able to obtain such a heavenly flame was quite a joyous thing for someone like him, who did not like to compete with others. I heard that young friend Xiao Yang has subdued the rumored purifying demonic lotus flame. I wonder if this is true. The eyes of old man Xiaoyang suddenly landed on Xiao Yang as he laughed. Xiao Yang was looking at the green sea of fire above his head with a strange expression from a short distance away. Ha ha, I am merely just lucky like elder. Xiao Yang smiled. A fire glow rose on his shoulder. Little Yi appeared in a flash. Immediately, his eyes revealed an expression of disdain as he glanced at the other 3 clusters of heavenly flames in the sky. The only one that could appear in such a form was Little Yi. This is Heavenly Flame Spirit. The few people in the sky revealed a slightly different expression upon seeing Little Yi on Xiao Yang's shoulder. Their eyes became a little grave. They could sense an intelligence that was not inferior to that of humans from Little Yi. Being existences that stood at the peak of the alchemist world, they naturally understood just what a heavenly flame spirit represented to an alchemist. The legendary heavenly flame constitution would allow the heavenly flame in the spirit's hand to reach a near-perfect extent. That level was something that even people like them, whose spiritual strength had reached the perfect heavenly state, could not compare with. Although the heavenly flames in their hands were quite strong, they had still yet to reach the extent of forming a heavenly flame spirit. My Hun clan has targeted the purifying demonic lotus flame for so many years, but it has unexpectedly ended up landing in your hands, but it doesn't matter. These things will sooner or later end up being taken back by us. Hun Hu's eyes flickered while a chill surged within them. Young friend Xiao Yang is really blessed. Back then, this elderly self once tried to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame. However, I was nearly killed within the demonic flame realm. Old man Xiaoyang fondled his beard and laughed. Xiao Yang smiled. After having experienced the demonic flame realm, he naturally understood just how difficult it was to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame. If he had not possessed a remnant of the purifying demonic lotus saint's soul, it was likely that he could only flee far away. Although old man Xiaoyang was an outstanding alchemist, one could not rely on alchemy when trying to subdue the purifying demonic lotus flame. If the 4 of you have prepared, please open your cauldrons and refine your pills. Yao Dan in the leader's seat withdrew his envious gaze from Little Yi as he spoke in a clear voice. Xiaoyang faintly laughed after hearing command. Little Yi on his shoulder widened its mouth. A thumb-sized pink fire cauldron flew out. It swelled with the wind and turned into a 1,000-foot-large fire cauldron that floated in the sky. Many fire dragons lingered around the fire cauldron. A low and deep dragon roar echoed from it, and in an instant, the temperature of the stadium swiftly rose. The other 3 individuals withdrew some distance away, while Xiao Yang's fire cauldron expanded. They separated this wide sky into 4 areas. Hun Hu's body flashed and appeared above the black fire cauldron. After which, he sat down. With a wave of his sleeve, tons of medicinal ingredients flew out in all directions. In an instant, a rich medicinal fragrance immediately spread through the sky. While he began to refine a medicinal pill, Elder Wanhua in the distance had used the 9 serene wind flame to form a fire cauldron. At their level, they could do without medicinal cauldrons, because they could randomly use their heavenly flames to form high-quality medicinal cauldrons. The person who had created the biggest commotion was Old Man Shenlong. The liquid-like green flame sea swiftly spread before he sat down within the sea of fire. He waved his sleeve and many medicinal ingredient seeds containing a strange fragrance swiftly scattered. Finally, they fell into the sea of fire. After which, the seeds swiftly sprouted in front of many stunned eyes. After which, they rapidly grew within the fiercely burning flame. Old Man Shenlong smiled as he looked at the rapidly growing medicinal ingredients. He flicked his finger and ripples formed in the sea of flames. They swiftly agglomerated into droplets of a pure green liquid. It was vaguely possible to see traces of fire seedlings rising from the liquid. A rich life force seeped out it. The green liquid stopped above many medicinal ingredients. After which, a drop quietly dripped down. After this fire liquid entered these medicinal ingredients, the medicinal ingredients appeared to have consumed a catalyst. Their rate of growth soared. Within a dozen minutes, the many seeds turned into various rare medicinal ingredients before they grew some more. They moved joyously within the green sea of flames. It is indeed worthy of being the life spirit flame. Xiaoyang in the distance involuntarily praised, after seeing this mysterious scene. Other than possessing a weak combat ability, this life spirit flame was really the heavenly flame that was the dream of all alchemists. It would truly be a divine object in the hands of the Pill Tower, or the Yao clan. Although Xiao Yang understood that spurring the growth of the medicinal ingredients would greatly exhaust the user, many of these medicinal ingredients required at least 100 years to grow. This exhaustion was not worth mentioning compared to such a long period of time. Xiao Yang withdrew his attention after praising the flame. He looked at his huge pink cauldron, and with a wave of his hand, densely packed medicinal ingredients flew out of his storage ring. Finally, they stopped around the fire cauldron. The number of various medicinal ingredients were terrifying, causing many alchemists to feel somewhat speechless. Compared to the way these 4 individuals refined pills, the pill refinements earlier, including the 9-colored pill lightning Yao Qian had attracted, felt small and insignificant. Go! Xiao Yang's shoulder shook after summoning the medicinal ingredients. Little Yi flew out and entered the fire cauldron. Then, a crack was formed in the fire cauldron. A suction force surged and swallowed the thousands of medicinal ingredients floating in the sky. After which, a flame suddenly grew within the fire cauldron. He actually wishes to refine so many medicinal ingredients together. Even the faces of those elders from the Yao clan involuntarily twitched upon seeing these ingredients fly into the cauldron. The required composition of the thousands of medicinal ingredients that needed to be refined were all different. Could it really be possible to simply throw them all into the fire cauldron together? Yao Lao in a VIP seat merely grinned as he watched Xiao Yang. He had a relatively confident in Xiao Yang since Xiao Yang's skills as an alchemist had long since surpassed his teacher. Just how on earth did this fellow train? He is about our age, yet this fellow possesses the qualification to compete with Elder Wanhua, Ua. Many of the members from the younger generation, from the Yao clan below the stage had clustered together, but the extremely proud youths from the Yao clan were currently suffering a great blow, as they looked at the sky. Even Yao Qian, who had obtained the best result during the earlier part of the medicine ceremony, displayed a gloomy expression. Although he was very dissatisfaction in his heart, the enormous gap between Xiao Yang and him could not be ignored. Besides Yao Qian, the ice-cold Yao Ling, who had been doted by everyone, was also watching the calm young figure in the sky with pretty eyes. This was the first time in so many years that she had seen someone similar to her age compete in terms of pill refinement with the elders of the alchemist world like Elder Wanhua. Such an achievement was something that caused even a blessed genius like her in the Yao clan to involuntarily feel an admiration within her heart. Yao Xingji, he did not appear this strong when we met him in the Jiyu clan, back then, did he? Yao Ling turned her head to look at one of her suitors beside her. At that spot was another person from the Yao clan, the one who had given Xiao Yang the invitation to the medicinal ceremony, Yao Xingji. At that time, he was merely an ordinary Dozun. Although his spiritual strength was powerful, it had not reached such a frightening level. Unexpectedly, he has already reached such a level within a short few years. Yao Xingji bitterly laughed. There was an unknown feeling in his voice. When he had met Xiaoyang back then, Xiaoyang boasted a similar strength. If the both of them were to engage in an alchemist match at that time, it would have been difficult to predict the victor. However, who could have imagined that there would be so a vast gap between the two of them when they next met? His spiritual strength already belongs to the same level as Elder Wanhua. Perfect heavenly state. Yao Ling's pretty eyes looked at the figure in the sky. An unusual glint flickered in them. Her soul was different from an ordinary person since she had been born. The clan head had once said that if she was sufficiently lucky, she might even be able to step into that legendary DI state soul. She had always been proud of her spiritual strength. Even her extremely talented older brother was weaker than her in terms of spiritual strength. Xiaoyang was the only person in the same generation to surpass her in terms of spiritual strength. The thousands of medicinal ingredients in the sky were all swallowed by the fire cauldron before Xiaoyang sat down. Being in possession of the heavenly flame spirit, his control while refining pills was a lot more relaxing than the others. With little Yi helping to perfectly control his heavenly flame, refining medicinal ingredients was a simple and ordinary task. A fierce pink flame wrapped around the fire cauldron like a huge fireball. Every couple of minutes, many small fireballs would rush out of the fire cauldron. Finally, they would rotate around the fire cauldron. These fire clusters were encasing different medicinal liquids and powders. All of them were necessary medicinal ingredients refined until they were very pure. The three others in the sky were also refining a large number of medicinal ingredients, while the number of fire clusters floating around Xiaoyang's fire cauldron was increasing. Although they did not possess a heavenly flame spirit, and were unable to catch up to Xiaoyang when it came to the effectiveness of their refinement, they were still gurus. Refining medicinal ingredients was a basic task. It was clearly not a problem to them. Many alchemists in the stadium watched the extremely smooth medicinal refinement methods in the sky. Their faces were completely immersed while a wild heat glowed in their eyes. This medicinal ingredient refinement continued for around a day, before Xiaoyang finally took the lead to open his eyes. He looked at the densely packed fire clusters floating around the fire cauldron, before he let out a deep breath, and gently waved his hand. Many fire clusters rushed back into the fire cauldron. Soon after, a shocking energy fluctuation wildly spread from the medicinal cauldron. Even the fire cauldron had shook until it emitted a buzzing sound. Soon after Xiao Yang had completely refined the medicinal ingredients, Han Huzi opened both of his eyes. He threw the many medicinal liquids that he had refined into his fire cauldron. After which, his hand seal changed. A loud cry sounded, "The world's strength, listen to my order." After Han Huzi's cry sounded, a wild wind suddenly swept through the sky. An endless natural energy gathered around the fire cauldron from all directions. Finally, it was devoured by the suction force being emitted. This terrifying devouring made the energy form a mottled energy storm, which crazily howled in the sky before it was completely devoured by the fire cauldron. This terrifying pill refinement aura caused many people to quietly swallow a mouthful of saliva. They had not heard that they needed to absorb natural energy when refining pills, because extra energy would at times break the equilibrium of the medicinal properties, resulting in failure. However, this thinking clearly belonged to an ordinary person. The Yao clan elders and some alchemist gurus revealed shock on their faces at this moment. Even Yao Dan in the leader's seat showed an extremely grave expression. Gathering natural energy to refine pills, this method, he is actually planning to refine a Tier 9 mysterious pill. The activity caused by Han Huzi was detected by Xiao Yang and the other two. Elder Wanhua knit his eyebrows. He let out a cold snort and changed his hand seal. A stern cry also sounded, "Natural energy, gather." Many members of the Yao clan were excited to hear Elder Wanhua's cry. He was also planning to refine a Tier 9 mysterious pill. "Ha ha, since the both of you have acted in such a grand fashion, this elderly self must naturally not fall behind." Elder Shenong laughed upon seeing the energy gather. He waved his sleeve and the surrounding natural energy once again became chaotic. Waves of majestic energy were dragged into the fire cauldron in front of him. "Since the three of you are in such a mood, Xiaoyang can only join all of you." Xiaoyang faintly smiled as he watched the natural energy get dragged around in a chaotic fashion. The seal formed by his hands changed. A frightening suction force was emitted from his fire cauldron that forcefully dragged energy in, fearlessly snatching natural energy. The many alchemists present watched as waves of thunder roared and energy storms erupted in the sky. Their hearts were startled. The four of them were actually refining legendary Tier 9 mysterious pills. Such a scene was indeed an extremely rare occurrence. This video will end here.